I've been working on my second attempt of an Anvil bar shear, and so here are the machined plates. These are D2 steel, or SKD11, and so the holes have been properly drilled, and it's been machined. One part is slightly smaller diameter than the other, so that it'll rotate thusly. So I've got to get a hardy shank welded on, and I'm not sure if I'll weld it like that or maybe to the bottom of that plate. I think probably on the side would be best. And I've also got this lever arm piece that I got machined as well, and that a bar will insert into that, and so that's got to be, like I said, welded on to the other side, the other plate. And I'm going to have him weld it very lightly because I have a feeling that this is not going to work as I planned, and so I'm just going to have him weld, just not tack weld, but weld it enough that it'll stay on, but not completely on the sides, so that it'll be hard to remove later on if I need to do that. From my experience, it's better to heat treat this steel before welding. It makes it so that the welds will be much less likely to crack. I get this D2 steel up to critical temperature, hold it there for a bit, take it out, and then just set it aside to air cool. That's it. Okay, so I'm back from the welder, the hardy shank and lever arm being welded on. You can see how I only had him weld this front and back and not on the sides. I need to give a really big shout out to Brett A. Thompson for his recent very generous donation. He really went well above and beyond, and I really do appreciate that very much. So thank you very much, Brett, and hope you enjoy. This is a simple diagram where you can see the size of the holes. This one's 9mm, and that's the main one I want to use because I'd like to shear 8mm stock. The largest one is 15, maybe a little bit ambitious, and one on top is 11 and the other is 7. You can see that the weld is a sort of a pinkish hue. Given the hardness of the steel, the welder used a softer filler rod. And you can also see that I cleaned up the sharp edges on the lever arm. So if you go back a couple of months in my videos, you'll see my first prototype of a bar shear, what I call the Whopper Chopper. It has a lot of deficiencies, and this second prototype should be a great improvement. So I've got these rods to test out. This one is 6mm and then 8mm, and then the one here is 10mm. So I'm hoping to cut all of these, and then maybe if I feel ambitious, like I said, I'll go up to this piece of 14mm. So I wasn't certain, but I was pretty sure that this was going to happen. Just everything lifts. I thought that maybe using in this direction with the extra anvil in front would be better, but still the same. So this is really pretty ridiculous. I don't secure my anvils down, and so, like I said, I had the idea that that was going to happen. And so, but I did have some hope that using it this way might work, but I had in my mind plan C, something else to use it similar to the Whopper Chopper, where I'm going to hammer on that lever arm, make it a striking arm. So this is my cheapo Chayo anvil, and that also has a 3/4 Hardy, so I thought that maybe I'll just put it in there and just see what happens. But I do have an idea how I could use it, maybe sort of as a rebar shear, a construction site rebar shear. If I secure that back end down to a piece of wood, and then I'm standing on the front end of that wood, I think that that actually would work. So this is a picture of a shear similar to one that I had way back when in the States, and that worked very well, and it was just bolted onto a bench. And you can see how the lever, it has teeth, it's geared, so it has sort of what you might call a gear ratio, but the main difference between my simple shear and this is that this more formal shear, the cutting action goes up and back. And whereas mine is cutting in the same direction as I'm pulling, which makes it much more difficult. The force of this more formal shear goes back and down while I'm pushing on the lever down. So that gives you just that extra leverage. So the logical thing is for me to use this as a striking shear. First up, 6mm rod. So that was very easy. I'm just gently tapping. I'm afraid that the lever arm will break off the way it's welded. So I have a second go with 6mm. This here is my 8mm rivet stock. A very clean cut. Now on to 10. With my smaller unsecured anvil, and you can see the shaking, I'm losing a lot of power, but still works just fine. Now on to 14mm. With a bigger secured anvil and with a proper striking arm, this would work even better. It's a big improvement over my first prototype, with the cutting holes closer to the pivot/fulcrum. After I get the third and final prototype squared away and give that a workout for a while, this is something I definitely would consider to sell. Catch you guys next time.